Have you ever had a dream, a vision for a project you want to put into this world, but you just don't know how? Something so crazy and ambitious that you just can't see yourself pulling it off. Well, now you don't have to. In case you've been living under a rock, in the last couple of years, AI has revolutionized the world. And now almost anything you can imagine can be done for you through a number of free, but sometimes paid for good ones, AI platforms. There's an AI for everything. Want to finish that stupid essay on that boring book your teacher wanted you to read? Yeah, sure buddy. AI, ChatGPT, has got your back. Teacher breaking your balls about AI usage? Don't worry about it. We've got an AI that'll adjust another AI's response so that it's unrecognizable to the AI detectors that your teachers are using. Want to DM the huzz or send a flirty reply to their Instagram story, but just don't know what to say to sound cool and nonchalant? Don't worry about it. AI has got you. Is your girl breaking your balls about something? Like, I'm not gonna read all that, you're not gonna read all that, no one's gonna read all that, so just copy her text, paste it into ChatGPT, and let AI tell her to calm down in a far nicer way for you. Finally land a date and having a heart-to-heart in person? Just wait a couple of years until one of these tech billionaires can install Cortana into your head so that you can have perfect responses in real time. Or accidentally fall in love with the AI in your head. Or accidentally make your girl fall in love with the AI in your head. Because it's not actually you speaking to her with your thoughts and emotions, because you don't know how to regulate those. You just outsource that. You've only ever used the AI for conversation. So in reality, she never fell in love with you. She just fell in love with the version of you that AI was portraying, which is just an idealized version of you presented through an AI that has read more literature than you've ever even physically seen and knows the perfect responses for every single situation, so much so that they can even roleplay like all of those dreamy guys in the smut books she's reading. Something that you will never live up to. Like me, you are a hungry entrepreneur, so you don't have time for trivial things like pleasing your wife or putting on your wedding ring. Apparently, I totally forgot about that. AI has got you. You can just outsource that.
Now I have a guy that comes in to sleep with my wife because I don't have the time to be distracted from anything which isn't growing revenue.
And if it can't be done for you now, don't worry. It's only a matter of time until it can be. AI is only getting exponentially better day by day. Now, you might be thinking, wait a minute, what the fuck does this have to do with cars? This is the car guy, isn't it? You make those car videos. This is all just some rant about AI. Yes, but also no. This is all relevant context for a larger point I'm trying to make here, which does inadvertently involve cars at some point, so keep that in mind. I've tried so many different ways to make this script work in some way that doesn't involve a bunch of massive tangents, alright? But it just doesn't. It's such a loaded topic with so much nuance that I kind of just need to go on these tangents and explain things better. And funnily enough, tangents are actually one of the few things that AI can't do or replicate just yet. So just please bear with me. You may think I'm going off the rails and straying from the point here and there, but trust me when I say I am building to something and we are going to come full circle to an overarching point by the end. If I just said AI bad, but not all bad, but mostly bad, that tells you nothing. And you'll end up leaving this video the same way you came to it, which is not what I'm trying to do here. This isn't going to be a perfect video, but it is going to be a real video. And if you fuck with that, I think you'll fuck with me and what I do here. So now that I've absolutely killed my retention and weeded out like 90% of viewers who just aren't willing to let me build up towards something, for the rest of you, please do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, help this video actually get pushed, and we will go from there. Now, before I pivot into cars, or more specifically, automotive videography as a medium, I want to be super clear so you don't get the wrong idea about my stance on this. I don't hate AI in all of its forms. I think large language models like ChatGPT can be an incredible advancement for our society when used right. It can simplify the most complex ideas and make them easily digestible. It can give you accurate instructions. Like, for example, one of my co-workers had a baby seat stuck in the back of a friend's car. He didn't know the brand or model of it, so wasn't able to look up instructions, but all he did was take a photo of the baby seat, upload it into ChatGPT, and what he got were detailed instructions from that brand and manufacturer of baby seat, which he didn't even know, that allowed him to uninstall it from the car within minutes. That's just one super niche example of the benefits LLM like ChatGPT can have. And there are so many other ways other AIs can be genuinely useful. Like, for example, iOS 26's up and coming instant language translation through FaceTime. That will be, if it works as advertised, an absolute game changer. Photoshop's generative fill and Illustrator's instant turning of a PNG into a vector file with all of its points still intact is insane. If you work in design, I am sure your pants absolutely flew off at the Adobe presentation. You see, I'm totally cool with hell. You could even say I'm enthusiastic about AI replacing menial tasks that nobody wants to do. I want AI to be able to easily convert dirty PNGs into vectors. I want them to be able to take a design that was created for digital and be able to convert it to CMYK for print while leaving all of the colors intact the way they looked in RGB on your screen. I want it to free up our time from doing taxes, making spreadsheets, compiling data, helping fix code, helping come up with meal plans and workout plans, and all of that stuff that can be a little trivial. But there are two things I strongly believe AI shouldn't replace. One is our own ability to think and reason, and I don't want to see AI replace the things we free up our time for, like art. I want to see AI free up our time from all of these menial tasks so that we have more time to focus on the things we actually want to do, giving us more time to actually create and appreciate art that reflects the human experience. I hate the idea of AI that frees up our time from the creative projects that people actually want to do. So I draw the line when generative AI in particular gets so good, off the back of mostly copyrighted material, mind you, that it replaces genuine art forms and creative projects that people actually want to do. Have we reached an understanding? We don't have to agree yet. There's a lot of this video left to go, but I hope we've established some baseline understanding of the implications of the mass adoption of generative AI. This is without even getting into the ethics of it and the water consumption of the GPUs that need to be used, and the fact that if it is mass adopted, we can never trust a single thing seen on the internet again, rendering it completely useless as a source of information. But all of that is a whole different can of worms that I do not want to get into here. So let's take a step back now. Before we get into automotive videography, which is something I really want to touch on later, it's kind of what we're building to. First, we got to talk about how and why art is even made. The vast majority of time throughout history, art did not come out of nowhere. It came from people who were so good at their craft that they were recognized by the masses and could then monetize it in some way, shape, or form, which could continue to sustain themselves so they could continue to refine and perfect their craft. Some of the greatest artworks of all time were made because there was a value attached to them, paired with a passion to do that thing. You can have all the passion in the world, but if you have no money to sustain yourself and what you're doing, it's more than likely never gonna get done. Yes, there are a few outliers out there like Vincent van Gogh who would never see the appreciation for their work until long after they're gone. But again, those are major outliers. For so many of the greatest artworks we've ever seen in history, from the Statue of David to the Sistine Chapel to the McLaren F1 and Halo 2, either there was an upfront commission to create such works, or a promise of commercial success that would garner the funding. The issue we're going to run into if we keep going on this trajectory is that AI will devalue art. Hell, it already is. You see so many comments already from people thinking they're sticking it to artists by saying that the artists are just coping about AI and upset because they're not special anymore. But what they're failing to realize is that these artists were never special. They just chose to spec their lives skill tree in a different way than you did. Or in layman's terms, they put in the fucking effort to one thing that you didn't. And that is how they mastered their craft. If you've never put effort into anything, that's on you, bro. The end result for this mindset only really leads towards people putting less and less perceived value on art. And if no one values art anymore, who is going to make the new art? Without commission or the promise of funding, the best pieces of art we've ever seen made by master craftsmen creating pieces at their highest level cease to exist for the masses to appreciate. And the masses, that's you. What will be left to feed your slop machine if everyone gives up and no one is making new things anymore? There's already an iconic art piece that depicts exactly what would happen. It eats itself and ultimately collapses. But AI democratizes art. Yeah, okay. And the Sith getting rid of the Jedi democratized the galaxy. Yeah, that sounds dumb. That's how dumb you sound. Balance was never about equal parts light and dark. Let's take a second to over-explain this analogy in case it hasn't hit you yet. The Jedi are a placeholder for people right now who make a living off their creative work. There's a good amount of them out there, maybe not as many as we'd want because everyone wants to be one. You get to let your creative expertise, or in this analogy, or sensitivity, sustain your entire lifestyle. That's really cool. I would also love to make a living off of my creative work. That is why I do YouTube in the first place. Please like and subscribe. But then you've got the rest of society who can't live off their creativity. A lot are content with that. They like consuming the art instead. But there are some who are super creative and work really hard, but just can't break through to get a seat on the council and the rank of master. That's not fair, these people might say. How can you be creative but be burdened with never being able to actually live off of your creativity like the masters? So they get angry. So angry that they decide if they can't have it, no one should be able to fund their lifestyle off of their own creativity and help to execute Order 66, or in this case, mass AI adoption. Fuck, this analogy runs so deep. Even in episode 2, Obi-Wan himself admits that if robots could think and develop wisdom, there'd be no need for the Jedi anymore.
Well, if droids could think, there'd be none of us here, would there?
Which is exactly what happened. A clone army, literal drones who can think, wipe the Jedi out. Like, really take a second to think about it. You are metaphorically killing the younglings by taking genuine paid creative opportunities away from the next generation because you want to feed the AI machine for instant gratification now. You are no better. Hell, you're probably even worse than the boomers you criticize for ruining the housing market. Because at the end of the day, fuck you. I got mine, right? If you're early enough to it and get to make a fat stack of cash off of AI generated content, fuck them kids and the kids who come after who have to deal with the ramifications of that. Like I said, some of the best pieces of artwork in history needed some sort of monetary backing or incentive paired with passion for people to be able to dedicate their lives to perfecting them. And do you really think any corporation or just human being with a shit ton of money is going to pay for art once it becomes so democratized as you say? No. No one will pay for it, so it will just stop being made. And yes, I get it. Some of the best pieces of art in history are passion projects. Some of the coolest video games were made by a single developer, not even expecting it to blow up. And then it does, and it's some amazing art form people can experience decades later. But again, those are so few and far between. And when the entire internet becomes flooded with AI slop that just overshadows that, no one is going to find those hidden gems anyway. Okay, so maybe we're a little bit more closely aligned now, or at the very least, you're starting to see where I'm coming from. So now, let's actually talk about an art form I am intimately familiar with: photography and videography. Yay, yes, we finally made it. We're at the part of the video where I talk about the thing. And hopefully I've given enough context up until this point to weed out a number of these stupid comments I'm inevitably going to get anyway. I know they're going to be there anyway, but a man can hope, right? Now, in a world of second screen content and slop just coming out the wazoo, what is it about automotive after movies and clips in particular that really just stop and get your attention? Because let's be real, we're all guilty of second screening content. Hell, you're probably watching me on your second monitor, or just listening to me on your TV while you're scrolling through reels and not paying attention. Hey, this thing on? Pay attention. You're better than this. I promise you. Those wheels on Marketplace will still be there in 10 minutes from now. Now, when it comes to automotive after movies, I'm talking the wrap-up videos from big meets, or those curated clips of like one car or a location cut together with sound bites, music, and, you know, engine clips, things like that. You know, the ones like this. That was cool, right? Even if you were drowning out my voice and not really paying attention a second ago, that probably grabbed your attention. It was loud, it was intentional, it was gripping, and most importantly, it was something guys would see and say, hell yeah. But why can that catch our attention and force us to watch when so many, you know, modern movies and TV shows struggle to do the same? Like 911, the TV show that constantly throws things at you. There is crazy shit happening every single second to try its hardest to keep your attention. And regardless, you just won't really watch anyway and won't question anything either, because really you just have it as background noise while you scroll reels the entire time. Yes, the police officer and potentially autistic child with a special interest in planes are going to land this plane on a highway. Stop questioning things. This is just what happens in this show. That show, which self-admittedly I actually kind of like, is the perfect rendition of a dumb fun show which was more than likely built from the ground up to be consumed as second screen content. But with things like pure automotive content, that's different. There are no voices to listen to, no vocal cues that let you passively watch and kinda hear and know what's going on. You either lock in and watch it properly, or you just miss it. It is one of the few purest art forms left. I know that is a stretch to say, but shut up, it sounded poetic. Because when you're watching it, it's like you're looking at art through two layers. The art form that is the car that has been built that you're seeing, shown through the art form that is the videography that has been captured and produced through hours of painstaking labor through the videographer's eyes. You're seeing their vision, which makes it even more sad when you start to see generative AI creeping its way into video. Let's be real for a second. I don't mind a little bit of AI in filmmaking, alright? Some nice stabilization and AI masking tools as simple examples go a really long way. But completely fabricated from the ground up AI content is again where I draw the line. AI generated videos in the automotive space in particular just feel like a bit of an insult to the work that went into these machines in the first place. And an even bigger insult to the creative integrity of the filmmakers that made this content the AI is most likely trained on. For a second, I want you to close your eyes and picture this. You're a videographer. You storyboarded an entire shoot. It's a night shoot. You've got your locations and your shots planned out perfectly. Then you go out to shoot and it starts raining. Some videographers would pack it up and try it again another day with perfect conditions, especially if it's a paid corporate gig with a very strict brief. Fair enough. But true artists, when given the option, will take their plan and adapt to the conditions. Because sure, maybe it is a corporate gig, but maybe it's a corporate gig for an event that won't get rescheduled for a little bit of rain. This same mentality then goes for anything that could go wrong in a shoot day. Maybe you break a lens, fuck up an audio take and not do a backup. Your gimbal runs out of battery and you have to shoot some shots handheld, whatever it may be. The limitations and struggles you are presented with on this journey of crafting a film are what spark creativity. Creativity without limits isn't creativity at all. It's just desires being met. There are no adaptations to conditions, no compromises, no creative boundaries being pushed because they have to be. Just text being input as a prompt and spat back out at you at the exact form you wanted it to be in. Yes, I know it's not exactly that easy right now, but at this rate, it won't be long until it will be. And that just sucks so much of the impact filmmaking can have right out of it. The cool facts you see in YouTube video essays about certain movies with their shots and how they're choreographed and how hard it was to pull off and this, that, and the other just won't exist. And at that point, yeah, they become far less impressive and far less special. Hell, some of the best moments on a screen in history happened off of the script. Just imagine a world where we didn't get the "I am Iron Man" line in Endgame. That is the world perfect and instant generative AI will lead us towards if it is mass embraced and improved upon at the rate it is going even right now. All we will get is structured, algorithmically driven slop that is perfectly curated for retention and mass appeal. Things that are safe, made to please everyone, and drive no emotion. Me personally, I like to get my slop from real creators. I like my slop made by man. So I want to talk a little bit more about gatekeeping in the art world, so to speak, because I think it's a super important point that often gets misinterpreted, and ultimately all arguments end up leading back towards this idea, we'll call it, that artists are just mad that everyone can do what they do now, and this is just the exact same as when other jobs were replaced by the Industrial Revolution, for example. It's all in the name of progress, stop being upset about it, etc, etc. I made a little joke about AI democratizing art before, but let's get serious about it now. There did used to be a lot more gatekeeping in the photography and videography scene. People didn't want to show how they edit or be transparent about anything. They didn't want to show you how the sausage is made because in reality, it's not that hard. A lot of subpar photographers and videographers were scared they would lose their jobs if photography and videography was too easily accessible for everyone. But in reality, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. Because even if it isn't that hard, and I say that as someone who's been doing it for over a decade, there is a lot of genuine effort that is required to get good at photography and videography. It is its own art form that you need to practice and get good at. Even if I say it's easy, anything can become easy if you put enough effort into it. Playing guitar is easy if you've done it every day for years. Working on a car is easy if you've done it enough times. Carpentry is easy if you've built enough houses. Lifting 225 is easy if you've lifted every single weight lighter than that. Everything that is worth a damn in life requires practice and effort. The thing is though, this doesn't extend or apply to generative AI. Once you lead that horse to water, it'll drink so much that there will be nothing left for you. Because sure, right now, there might be a bit of effort required to make sure AI slop looks decent, mainly because it's so new, but it's nowhere, not even a fraction close to the effort required to produce something for real. And soon enough, very soon enough, AI will take little to no effort at all. Then what? Seriously, when AI solves what makes life enjoyable and just leaves behind the things that make life hard, then what? I need you to understand, for the most part, art was never gatekept by anyone. It was inherently gatekept by the effort it took to create things. And with AI, there is no real tangible effort. You can argue with me all day about how prompting actually does take effort and you just need to know what to write and this, that, and the other, and you'll get such different outputs if you don't know what to write. Whatever. At that point, you need to stop coping. I don't care what secret sauce you think you have, because even as we speak, Peter Griffin, with AI text to speech, can teach you simple and effective photography tips while you're scrolling Instagram reels. Do you really think people aren't going to figure out the secret sauce? You can already reverse engineer AI with an outcome and ask it to give you a prompt for another AI to make that outcome become reality. Then yeah, it's going to start giving you technical photography and videography jargon, for example, which if you know the industry and understand what it's telling you, you can adjust right away and make a better prompt. And if you don't know what any of that means and don't know the jargon, you can just ask the AI to put that into layman's terms for you, tell it what you want it to achieve, and it'll just tell you what to adjust to make that happen. So all that'll happen is it'll take someone who doesn't understand just a fraction of the time longer to learn the secret sauce or adjust their prompt to fit the secret sauce without really learning it, and achieve the same result as someone who knew all that info from the industry in their head already. So even with a deep knowledge and understanding of the film industry, you're still nothing special using AI. Creating art has always been so easy and accessible, man. It has never been more accessible than it has been in the last 30 years. But the difference is people just wouldn't go out and do the thing. So there was an opportunity for those that would put in the effort to get jobs and make money and live off of their art. Now, or soon, nobody will have to put in the effort. I don't care how good you think you are with AI compared to someone else, brother, they will all catch up so quickly, and inevitably you are so cooked. And not only are you cooked by using and encouraging generative AI, you're just turning up the heat on the metaphorical pot you're boiling in already. The, the idea of generative AI sounded so promising, especially for really niche stuff. Like, okay, for example, before I pivoted this channel into cars, I used to talk a lot about video games and anime. And I made a number of videos about my favorite anime of all time. One from my childhood, a super niche anime called Zoids. There is so much more that could have been done with the original concept of the first series of this show. And so much stuff I would have loved to see come out of it. But because it's so damn niche, it's not all that profitable. So it is never going to get remade and turned into some longer story that I wished it could have been. AI could fix that. You could train a generative AI model on all 64 episodes of the first Zoid series, which would be more than enough data to create your own story. Hell, if you go back and rewatch these old series, you would be surprised how much reused animation there already is. That you just wouldn't have noticed as a kid. So as these generative AI models get better and better, and if you train it on one specific set of data, you eventually could take your own headcanons and ideas for story plots and all that stuff and just turn it into reality. I could take my childhood dreams and recreate the storyboards I drew in crayon on A3 paper of a new Zoid season I would have loved to see growing up. Just like I mentioned at the start. A dream so wild and unimaginable I'd never be able to pull it off myself. AI could. But I don't like that. some things are better left to the imagination. Some stories are better left to be told by their original creators and die with them, not to be puppeteered around and imposed upon by someone who can generate a shell of what their work once was. Because if you can just insert a prompt and get your first idea generated instantly, there is no trial and error. There is no soul and passion and hours of blood, sweat, and tears poured into a project. You'll just get your result, think, huh, that's cool, for like a second, and move on with your life. The same way when you play through a game with cheats, suddenly it's not quite as fun anymore. As soon as you got an R4 card as a kid and loaded up every single item and shiny Pokemon in Heart Gold and Soul Silver, suddenly it wasn't cool or special anymore. So what do you end up doing? Resetting and playing through the game again the old fashioned way. There will be some people that still do find it fun after cheating. It's inevitable. People enjoy shit in different ways. Those will likely be the generative AI apologists of today. And hey, you know what? You're allowed to like it. No one cares if you want to consume slop. No one cares if you want to produce slop. Just don't get all weird about it when the rest of us are doing our own thing and you're left empty inside, wondering where it all went wrong and wondering what the fuck happened.